The way forward is clear. That was the message that I got when I was tuning into trance just now, just channeling through some information from spirit to see what the messages were coming out of this big Aries full moon, and then that was closing out our eclipse season, which we had. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Ten of Swords. So this can represent just basically the worst is over. Like, we've been through a lot. We've been through it. I've also been through it. You can probably see it in my voice and the way I'm talking. I'm sort of coming out of that too. But the Ten of Swords means that, like, we're letting all the shitty stuff go at this point. We're releasing things that aren't serving us anymore, and we're moving on to things that are meant for us. I think we have to be a little bit careful about being defensive, like making sure that because, you know, we weren't treated the best in the past, that doesn't mean that we're closing off our heart to new opportunities and new things that are meant to come in that could be potentially for us. And I think those are coming in, because under that we have the Page of Pentacles, which is, give me a message that comes to you in the form of something tangible in your real world. So it could be like a coffee date, a small job offer, a new project, a new friendship, something like that. So keep your eye out. Keep your eye out for those new projects and opportunities that are coming in. I don't know why I'm feeling compelled to keep pulling from the bottom of the deck, but we also have some clear communication coming in, and also some more of that grounded energy, only now coming in the form of the King. So moving from the Page of Pentacles to the King of Pentacles. So whatever is showing up in your life right now has the potential to grow from something small into something really big. And that could potentially have to do with communication. So just keep an eye out for that communication, that message that could potentially be coming in, and that could lead to a new beginning. The Fool's a new beginning. Let's reshuffle the cards. As usual, guys, I did not introduce myself. Hi, I'm Erin. I'm a writer, a tarot reader, intuitive channel, and a witch. And I'm here just doing a general reading for y'all. It's been a minute since I've done sort of a general reading. We've had a lot of astrological energy happening after the eclipses and the full moon. Okay, we just had 2 fall on the floor. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah. I'm laughing because this came out in the pre-shuffle, the 6 of Wands. This is just another confirmation that we're moving on to calmer waters. So moving on from a time in our lives that was like pretty turbulent. I think the eclipses brought up a lot for people. I think it was, you know, and I'm not even talking about what's going on in the world stage at the moment, and that's only because the readings that I tend to be more personal about what's going on in our personal lives. But the personal is political, right? So I know that a lot of us have been devastated, like seeing what's going on in our communities, seeing, you know, people being snatched up off the street, seeing, you know, fascism take over our country. Obviously that affects us personally. It's not just something that's political. It's affecting our friends and our neighbors. If it's not affecting us directly, we're seeing it affecting people in our community. And that's devastating, right? Like, we want to stand up for the people who are being affected by all of this. So, you know, I would just say, you know, if you can, make sure that you're prioritizing self-care. I know that a lot of you guys are, you know, out in the streets and raising your voices against what's happening in our country. And I would definitely urge you to continue to do that. But at the same time, just make sure that you're prioritizing self-care as well, because we can't, you know, pour from an empty cup, right? We have to make sure that we're prioritizing our own self-care and our own needs before we're going out and contributing that back to the community. I think also what's interesting is that the Magician came out as well. So I think that we have, a lot of us, an untapped power that we are just now realizing that we have. I think maybe it's been a little bit sneaky. A lot of us have unintentionally or intentionally kind of kept it up our sleeves, hidden it a little bit, but now that's starting to come out, and we're starting to realize that, especially when we unite together as one block, one community, that we do have a voice. We do have a lot more power than we think we have. And that's really important to recognize, because the fascists in power right now don't want us to know that we have that power. They want us to believe that we're powerless. So I think it's really important to always remember that even at the times when it seems incredibly hopeless, we do have power. And that power, especially when we're talking about being in the era of Pluto and Aquarius, that power is moving from the top down to the bottom, to the people, to all of us together. So don't, just don't forget that. That's something that's really important to keep in mind. Every single one of us has an individual power, and when we combine that together, we're more powerful than the fascists, right? So that's just something to keep in mind. Let's keep shuffling. Okay, that's interesting. So we have the Six of Wands coming out. Oof. I just had like 8 cards fall on the floor. I don't know if I'm going to take that. Okay, so the Six of Wands is great news. That's victory. I think this is what's on the horizon for all of us. I think that we all have that capability to bring what we want, to manifest it into our real lives from just that vision. That vision. Maybe you have a vision board, or maybe you have, something that's even a vision for your community. Maybe we're all kind of collectively dreaming in what our ideal community could look like. Obviously writ large, it's not happening right now. We're seeing our communities being devastated. So, but we also need those visionaries, those people in place who can lay out that vision for, well, what would it look like? What could it look like? And I was talking about that hope earlier. I think there really is that need and that place for that hope, and that vision, especially in places and times when things seem really dark. So what I'm seeing is that like this potential victory that we have could really be closer than we think, and it could be coming around the corner, sooner than we think. So that's really great news. I mean, that's great to see. I think, again, it's easy to lose hope. I just encourage everyone not to lose hope, because that's what they're counting on that we do right now. So, okay, let's see what's going on with these 2 cards that fell on the floor. Whoa, there's like... Okay, so we have Temperance in the World, and then we have 2 other cards that fell way over there. Hang on one second, I'll go get them. Wow, guys. We have the Empress and the Star. So when I was just talking about that hope, the Star is the card of hope. And the Empress is someone who's ready to receive that hope and that positivity and all of the beneficial beautifulness that the world potentially has to offer, as long as we're able to still keep that hope and dream it into reality. I was talking about the age of Aquarius earlier, and Pluto moving into Aquarius, and the Star is the card of Aquarius. It's the card of the people and of hope and of the future and of vision. And we really need to keep that in mind right now, not to lose that hope, not to lose that vision, not to let the fascists at the top let us believe that we don't have hope and we don't have power. So we have Temperance in the World, really beautiful cards as well. Temperance can be a little bit about patience, but it can also just be about that divine guidance. Like, we are all divinely guided, if you choose to believe that, right? Of course, I'm not, that's what I believe. I don't want to like push that on you if that's not something you believe, but certainly in my view, we're all divinely guided. We all have angels, if you want to think of it that way, or spirit guides, or our higher selves, whatever you want to conceive of it as. There's a divine force that's guiding our steps, and it's moving us towards that higher dream life. There's systems and structures of oppression that are in the way of that, but that doesn't mean that we can't work together to dismantle those, and that there is hope for doing that. We also have the World here, and the World means the ending of a big chapter, a big cycle. And I'm viewing that in relation to this age of Aquarius, where we have Pluto in Aquarius now. Again, power moving to the people, right? Like, the age of power from the top down is over, and now the power comes from the bottom up, right? I feel like these cards are all over the place right now. Again, the Moon came out, which is sort of interesting. I was talking earlier about some of this power being hidden, like maybe some of it's sort of under wraps, or maybe we're sort of keeping it up our sleeves a little bit. Maybe we're a little bit afraid to show how powerful we are. Now's the time to really come out. I'm surprised the Sun didn't come out. Now's the time to show people how powerful you are, and especially when we stand in community, how powerful we are when we stand together. It can be scary. Sorry guys, I had like a weird interference energy coming up. I think somebody doesn't want this message coming through, but what I'm trying to say is that I think when we keep our power hidden, we're playing into the hands of the people who want to concentrate power for themselves. You know, the oligarchs, the billionaires, the capitalists, the fascists. Those guys want us to believe that we need to keep our power hidden, right? But why should we listen to them? We're only shooting ourselves in the foot if we follow along that narrative that we're powerless, right? Um, is it a challenge? Yeah, it's a huge challenge, and you know, some of us more than others, unfortunately, have circumstances that um, are awful, and we're put in place deliberately to keep us out of power. But community is the most important part. Like when we stand together, we can dismantle those structures and those systems, and we can take that power back from the top. All right, guys. I really hope that this helps you. I hope you have an amazing week, weekends, whenever it is that you're watching this video. And I will be back for another reading soon. If you're interested in getting a personal reading, click the link in bio.